Дякую вам, дякую. О, дякую вам, дякую. Вам дякую. Вам дякую.
At this time, I'm super nervous. Like, I practice with native speakers in the wild. 2020 vision, I could see like Ukrainian on there. And equipping yourself before you enter the battlefield, you have to.
Розмовляти українську мову, так? Так, я також знаю українську мову. Я
Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Polyglot Paradise, the paradise for language tips and resources. So today I wanted to just show you how I practice with native speakers in the wild, okay? When I talk about in the wild, I mean in your community. There are tons of opportunities for people to learn in your community, especially if you live in a very multicultural city. Today I'm gonna take a random video of me practicing languages as usual, and I chose to take a really random one because I've only been showing the good ones on my YouTube channel, as you can see.
Звідки ти?
Я?
З України.
Ні, я не з України. Ви почали минулого тижня?
I want to show you like a typical video of me interacting with people, because I don't tend to show everything, right? So I'm going to show you guys like just what I do, and particularly I'm going to be reflecting on what I could have done better and what I did do well, so that I can perhaps give you some advice for practicing in the wild. This video is just to inspire any of those who want to do this kind of stuff too, because if I could do it, you could do it too. It really needs courage, and it really needs breaking the barrier of fear behind talking to strangers, right? So that's really one of the things I like to work on, is breaking that fear, the initial fear of talking. Most people are not used to talking to random people, especially in the language that they're learning. However, I felt that once you do it once, twice, once you keep doing it, it really becomes something that you can become more comfortable in. And I do admit I still get a little bit nervous when I kind of do these things, especially if it's a language that I'm not very good at. So that's kind of the reason I chose Ukrainian, because if I did French or something like Spanish, I would be not at that state of mind where I have as much fear as I do in Ukrainian, which I was learning at that time. So the video I'm going to show you guys was taken, I think, about 2 months after I started learning Ukrainian. This was last year, 2020, and I think this was November, if not October. I think it's October. And this is after 2 months of learning Ukrainian. So let's get to the video. Wait, no. Same old phone.
No, this one's okay.
Okay, what battery?
It'll last.
No.
I just turned it on now. Okay, maybe you can get...
Same old phone.
So, in this first part of the video, I enter a European kind of like supermarket, and I know the supermarket, the staff is like Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, like European, like Eastern, Central European, and I knew that going in. And the first part is like kind of looking for the right place, right? So I've already went to like a Ukrainian bookstore and a Ukrainian meat shop, and I was just kind of going to this place. I didn't know there was a Ukrainian lady that was going to work there, but I just went there because I knew I could hear or practice something. So I went, and so this supermarket has, the employees have their name tags, and not only that, they have the name tags with the languages that they speak. So literally almost everyone had like Polish or like, I don't know, Italian or something, whatever language that they speak. And this lady from far away with my 20/20 vision, I could see like Ukrainian on there, and I could see her name was Ukrainian too. So I was like, oh. I saw that from a mile. I saw that from far away, and I was like, okay, we're gonna order. Honestly, when you do this, you're gonna end up buying things you don't necessarily want to buy. Okay, So I ended up ordering like random meats. Like, you know, when I go to these Ukrainian books, like the last time I went to Ukrainian bookstore, I just bought some random books. I was like, okay, it's like whatever. Honestly, you just end up with a lot of random stuff, and but it's worth it because you have the opportunity to practice your languages, and they have some of your business, so it kind of works out there. But that's kind of how I support them, for giving me the opportunity to like practice. Budget for this stuff too. Like when I go, I have a budget that's like, I'm gonna be spending $15 on meat, on some sausages or whatever. And what I've learned from this experience is, like, when you go to these shops, the quality of the products are so great that whatever random stuff I end up buying, like random chocolate bars or whatever, they end up really good at the end of the day. And I never regretted anything I bought from any of these stores. So
Maybe that German. Oh no, that's mahal. It'll be fine. And then once it's not good. Oh, next time can you ask for it's thin? Like really thin. Okay, gusto ko thin kayo. The next one.
Okay.
That one's yours. How many? 200? Ikaw ang nakaon, ana. Kay di ko ganahan kung thick.
So you're the one who said 200 grams.
Yeah, but I forgot to tell you thin because I was overwhelmed. But you can eat it.
Yeah, over time. It's $4. Right?
Okay. Do you know which one to get na? Or manguta na lang ka unsan mayo? I totally forgot. My hand's cold. I also can't believe we got the cheese. Damn. Ganahan kita ng solo.
Oh, дякую вам, дякую. Oh, дякую вам, дякую. Вам дякую, вам дякую.
at this time, I'm super nervous. Like, I still get nervous. And for me, one of the ways to overcome this nervousness is to prepare a lot of the common phrases in advance. That's what you are doing. You're equipping yourself. Before you enter the battlefield, you have to equip yourself with the right knowledge. Okay? So before you kind of do this stuff, have like a long list of possible questions that you want to ask the person in that target language. Or even better, what I also do is some things I could say about myself about that target language. So where do you learn that language? Why are you learning that language? How are you using that language? You could talk about yourself. You could talk about where you're from. You could talk about where you live. Talk about things you like. Something basic that will carry a conversation. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these conversations, they're saying the same thing, right? Even in English, even in your mother tongue, right? A lot of these conversations you meet with people, you say the same exact thing. You know, how did you learn this language? Why are you learning this language? Who are you practicing with? How old are you? Where do you live? These are all the same questions. So once you're equipped with those kinds of things, those phrases and those questions and answers, you are much better off prepared, and you have more confidence in yourself, right? So the other thing I would like to say to myself is, these people don't know you, right? So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter if you kind of freeze. They don't know you personally most of the time. And even if you do, people are appreciative of you learning their language most of the time. People are most likely appreciative of you taking the time to like use their language, and it's always been mostly a good outcome, right? You always have these great relationships with people, and that in itself, the fact that you're learning their language, taking their time to appreciate their culture, it really creates that strong bond that is not embarrassing at all. Not embarrassing at all. So you need to break through that fear every time, and I can almost assure you that it gets better over time.
Розмовляєте українську мову? Так, я також знаю українську мову. Я вивчав українську мову. Я знаю російську мову, але я почав вивчати. Я русский, я знаю русский язик, але я почав вивчати українську мову. Це мова, українська мова була важко, але мені дуже подобається. А звідки ви? Київ. Окей. That's fine. Інтересно. Окей, окей, українську мову. Я можу розмовляти українською. Я хочу пуста джипсі. Окей. 100. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, yes.
So, was it worth it to come here?
Oh.
Let's hope this battery lasts. It's only been 3 minutes, so it should be good.
Хорошо.
Gusto ko mas.
Добре. Oh my gosh, no.
Oh, you get it. Slam.
Mixing up the languages.
Why? What was that?
Russian. Хорошо. Russian. Добре. Ukrainian.
Oh, she told you. Where's it? Yeah. Mag-ata lang tas sa Starscape pa. Sa gabi. That's the trick. I think we have to get more.
Is this Italian
Oh,
10? Sorry. 10 slices. Maybe 8
Nagtao.
Nag-story ako.
Wala ka man. No, mag-order sa daghan.
Це смачний? Я думаю, що смачний, так. О, так. Мені дуже подобається ця пуста.
Here's donuts.
Yeah, okay, so maybe 10.
I don't know.
Ви давно живете здесь, в Канаді? Вам подобається? Окей, холодно. Я родился просто... Я филиппинец. Я вырос в Канаде. Я почав вивчати українську мову. Чому? Тому що, просто не знаю. Я не знаю. Мені цікаво. Дуже вам спасибо. Дякую. Okay, next time.
I want to get this. There's no more punchki. What did you end up ordering? Why do you get Mexican so? What? Yeah. It's the problem is I don't think madongan siya.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay. I want this. It's pink. I don't know, Ma. Can you? I don't know. It's pink. I love artificial flavors. I don't know. Do you want anything from here? Do you want anything from there?
thing I could have done here is I could have prolonged the conversation. The thing with me is that I've worked in the service industry for quite a while, like I have. And I know how it is to be on that counter. Like, I just know that it's not always easy. And for me, because of those experiences, I always have the feeling of feeling rushed when I do these kinds of language challenges, right? When I go out and speak languages, because these are usually service industries like restaurants or supermarkets or like small businesses. And I always feel like I'm taking up too much of their time. But as you could see here, there was not really a lineup behind me. There was not really like a whole lot of people. So I could have prolonged the conversation, but I think that time I was just like really nervous. I was really nervous. I didn't know what to say even, right? Even this was like 2 months after I started learning Ukrainian. I was still kind of nervous. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I was just kind of like blanking out. It doesn't seem like it in the video, but I just didn't know what to do. My brain was like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. So I kind of just like kind of leave, right? I could have asked her, more questions, I could have asked more questions and stuff like that. But I was just so worried what, I was just so caught up in the moment and I was really nervous. But if I were to redo that again, I would have prolonged the conversation and perhaps took an extra 10 seconds to reflect on what I could have done to make the conversation more interesting and to make it go further, right? I'm sipping on my my drink. This is a, what is it? Roasted coconut coffee, iced coffee. I don't know. I got it from Second Cup. I'll kind of put the thing in I put it here. So one tip I would give to everybody is to really understand as much as possible the culture of the people who are speaking your language, your target language. And this is so important because you really need to pick up clues, right? When you are in public and you're like scanning the park and scanning the grocery store, right? You are picking up clues, right? So you're picking up clues. Sometimes what I do is I hear the language, right? A lot of the times that's what happens when you hear the language. A lot of the times it's very, very, very subtle clues that you'll see. Like sometimes it's the name tag. I'll see what their name is and I'll kind of maybe know where they're from or like what language is, like where they're from. Sometimes I would know by a certain accent. And you will know this by, hearing that language and hearing them speaking in English, and you can kind of pick up on the different ways that they sound like in English. At the same time, we don't want to stereotype people, right? Like, we don't want to do that, but there are certain things in certain cultures that you kind of can pick up on. And part of the fun is kind of figuring that out, right? So, yeah. Also, one thing that's really helpful is knowing a lot about the culture of the people whose language you're learning, right? So a lot of the times what I do is I look up all the different major cities in that country or region. Okay, I look up all the major cities, look at the history, look at the architecture, you look at the music, okay, because music is a huge part of that. So I always look at kind of the current music trends in that country or region where the language is spoken, or I also look at major stars in their cinema or like major artists in their entertainment industries, or I also look at the presidents or like the people in the political power. I look up the social issues in those countries. Obviously the political stuff I don't tend to raise when I first meet people, but it's always good to know, right? Another thing is food. You have to know like a lot of dishes in that country or region where the language is spoken. It really helps because food connects people like no other thing. So know what those things are. And when you go to those like restaurants, especially, you know what you're ordering, and people become surprised if you're not part of that culture or you don't look anything like the people in that culture. So once you have that knowledge, it gives you one leg up, and it kind of like puts your foot in the door when you are trying to practice with people, right? Another thing is you have to kind of know, just for yourself, the history of those countries too. And this is really important because there are a lot of things that make more sense when you're dealing with certain types of people, right? So you should know, for example, with Ukrainian specifically, I'll give you an example. Knowing the history of Ukraine was really important in connecting with Ukrainians, because there are Ukrainians I know that only speak Russian. They don't speak Ukrainian that much. They don't speak Ukrainian that much, or they're not really confident in it. And there are, Ukrainians that have different political views on Ukrainian and Russian. And you just, as long as you know kind of where different people stand according to the history of that country and different political views, you are more likely to dodge, or not dodge, but you're more likely to put yourself in situations where you understand why things are. You know what I mean? So I hope that makes sense. But knowing the politics and the history of a country or region where language is spoken is absolutely a must. And it's only helped me understand and connect with these people, right? So that's also another tip. So during this whole COVID situation, right, I think one of the challenges is when employees or the people you're talking to are wearing masks, because you don't not only understand half the things, but you have a hard time hearing what they're saying in the first place. So I'll be honest, when I do these kinds of things for languages like Ukrainian or like languages that I don't know too well, I don't understand half the things they say sometimes. Like I don't understand. I just kind of like go with the flow. But these are the type of things that will help you grow, because if you have this, like I said, it comes out as a positive interaction with somebody, and usually it's all great. When you come home, you kind of like have that energy and the motivation to keep going, so you can, you have that motivation to keep pursuing that language and keep listening to that language and keep going forward with that language. Now that you've had that situation that you were kind of stuck in, right? And it all comes down to these situations where you are kind of feeling like you could have done better. Like I could have done better here, I could have done better there, I could have said this, I could have said that. Those are the things that will help you grow in your language journey, right? It's not necessarily like how amazing you did, well, although that helps, but it's also reflecting on what you could have done. And I think that is where the learning is, when you reflect on what you could have done to be better. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. You ready?